Come on, lie. Good evening, guys. How are you? Yes, I suppose you have missed me. I bet you haven't. But anyway, I hope everybody is really well. Got Mark here tonight. And if you're listening or you're watching, welcome. If you're not, why not?
Mhm.
Anyway, I haven't got anything to say tonight. And I'm sorry. It's the first time in my entire life that I've got nothing to say. So I think I don't know. I tell you what, I do want to tell you is about I don't really want to go into it, but our new prime minister have they made the right choice?
Listen,
Right, that's over done with in 2 seconds.
you can't even say, that we had a decent choice
Well,
because
don't we? Don't we?
I think we're pretty much sunk with whoever we've been given. I'm choosing to see. I call her mistrust. By the way, I don't call her Liz. I call her mistrust with a T on the end.
Yeah,
Um,
well,
I'm hoping and praying, and I think my prayers will be answered, that she will be, God, please, the final nail in the coffin of this terrible government. Roll on 2024.
yes. I
It's,
think
it's
it's
nice to
going to
have
be.
something to look
We're
forward
going to
to.
have a. I think we're going to have an early election.
Do you?
That's what I reckon. Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yes. I think we're going to have an early election. I think mistrust. That's what she's going to do. She's going to mistrust everybody, and say it. If you got it on your mind, gotta say it. You know what I'm
Mm.
like. I think she's going to mistrust everyone. We're going to be in the same loop again. We're going to kind of vote for somebody who is, probably not right anyway. Who can you trust these days? Who can you trust in government these days? We had Kermit the Frog. He just left it. Poor Boris.
Boris.
He sounded like Boris. All that money he was getting to be prime minister. He couldn't even afford a comb, could he?
Mm. No.
You know what I
But
mean?
you can't. But Steve, you can't buy class. He thinks he's got lots of it. He thinks he's upper crust, born into privilege, born into wealth, which he is. But as a human being, he stinks as a human being, and he is proof that money does not buy you true class. He is lower than whale poo on the bottom of the deepest
Yes.
ocean.
I reckon they should have a. I reckon they should have a, a level class person to be prime minister. They should pick
What you said then? A
somebody.
lower class? Did you say lower class, Steve?
Well, oh, am I saying that wrong?
No, I couldn't
Not
hear
a
what you
lower.
said. I just said, did you say as in
I
working
think
class?
yeah,
You
I
mean?
did.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
I
yeah. You
do.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then I think that they will kind of like know the problems that's going on. I don't think
Mm,
the government don't care a shite about anybody except for themselves.
hmm.
All right,
Yeah.
which I don't. And you know, people know what I'm like with the government and whatnot. I get banned from Twitter. I get banned from everything. You know, um, but the trouble is, so see, I think we need to kind of like find out what she's going to do, and
Yeah.
she's not going to be a lot,
No.
and just hope to hell that we have an early election. That's what I reckon.
Well,
Um,
I mean, 2 years isn't a long time, and I mean, we'll put it this way: I think only a lunatic would want to take the position of Prime Minister of Britain at this very moment in time. It's probably in everybody else's best interest. I'm talking about opposition parties now. Now isn't the time because it is a nightmare. She's talk about a poison chalice. We thought Brexit was bad. With all this cost of living stuff and all the energy bills and everything. It's going to be a right job sorting that out. She isn't the person to do it. That government is not the government to do it, because from where I'm sitting and observing and I listen to these people speak, they are ineffectual, inexperienced people. It's just, I nearly said something else there, Steve. I really had to rein myself in there, and I just, I
see it as it is.
Yeah, but well, you got to be careful, really, because I could really go to town on them. But it's going to take a while to sort this thing out. This cost of living thing. We all know this. The sensible people know what needs to be done. If you've got energy companies making profits which far exceed what they expected, and in their own words, they've got more money than they know what to do with, then there's clearly something wrong. That is where you go. That is the answer. That is the answer to the entire problem. Those profits is the thing that should help us all out. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not in charge, so.
How about this then? How about this? Here we go. Name. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out the name of it. Where who actually like said it? I'm lost now. Anyway, but what I'm trying to say is, do you ever watch Parliament at all? Do you ever watch Parliament sometimes?
Every week,
yeah.
Myself and Melanie watch Prime Minister's Questions.
Right.
I'm actually quite looking forward to the next batch, because certainly in the last year or so, watching Boris, he has every shortcoming known to man presented, or he had every shortcoming known to man presented to him, and he'd stand there and bluff and lie and all the rest of it, and dismiss with his hands without ever being held to account. But because he's such a psychopath and a person of low moral, and he doesn't care, he's so thick-skinned, he knows he's lying, he knows we know he's lying, and he's not ashamed, he's not bothered. That is a true psychopath, is that. So it got a little bit frustrating, really, seeing him being presented with all these charges, and it was almost like he was Mr. Teflon. None of it seemed to stick. I don't think Liz Truss is going to do very well in Prime Minister's Questions, especially inheriting the job at this point, with because I think this Wednesday will be the first one that she that she chairs, or where she answers the questions, and they're going to run rings around her, and it's going to be very, very entertaining to watch. But yeah, I do keep an eye on politics, but really, if I'm honest, if I ever Googled the name Boris Johnson, or Googled the name Dominic Raab or whoever, or Gavin Williamson, it was usually hoping to see some outrageous news story which totally, decried them as human beings. And let's face it, over the last couple of years, people that aren't fans of the Conservative government have had plenty to enjoy, really, to enjoy reading and watching on the news. It's been quite entertaining on one hand, but very, very depressing on the other, because really, when you take away the incompetence of somebody like Gavin Williamson, for example, a couple of years ago when he was the education minister. You know, you can laugh at how he had schools open for one day and then they went into lockdown again, and everyone had told him leading up to that, you don't let the kids back into school. You know, you can sort of like on one hand laugh at the incompetence of the man, but really that's not a good thing to do, because that's our children he's messing about with. That's their futures, that's their health. The way he bungled the exams, you know, the first exam results of 2020 a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's a bit. Yeah. You know, I enjoy seeing these people fall and fail because they are despicable human beings. But at the same time, while they're falling and failing, it's our lives that's in their hands. So it's not really as funny as you think. It's a bit of a comedy of errors and terrors. Look at our face, ladies and gentlemen.
Because what?
That screen. I told you your screen your screen's freezing, and we're getting some beautiful expressions captured for posterity. Like that one there. That's a good one.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, you glad I said it because what, Steve? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Right. Okay. So this screen here, if you can see it, there's people going to Parliament, getting paid £300 just to attend Parliament, and they're falling asleep.
Yep.
What do you say about that?
It's despicable. And this is the same government. These are the same people that are getting disabled people who haven't got a cat in hell's chance of surviving in a workplace. But they've been bullied into you know, they think the answer to everything is work, and it is for most people. We have to earn an income, we have to, but there's people in this country that can't. But they will use every bullying tactic within their arsenal to frighten people and to harass people. Universal credit is, and I'm on universal credit, so I know what I'm talking about as a self-employed entertainer. I had to go on universal credit when the entertainment industry was closed down over COVID. It was the only way I could, get any money, and I've stayed on it. I don't get much from it, Steve, because I basically break the threshold every month anyway. I earn what they expect me to earn, but it's there for me to fall back on if I do all of a sudden have a bad month, because who knows what's going to happen with pubs and clubs in the weeks and months ahead. Are they going to be able to afford to stay open? Are they going to be able to afford to provide electricity for me to plug my gear and my lights into to sing? So if all that suddenly goes to pot again like it did with COVID, then at least then I've got something to fall back on. But I find universal credit very, very intrusive. It's very one size fits all, which is wrong, because it doesn't. We're all individuals. It's designed, I think, to make you feel like you've got to account for absolutely every aspect of your life, and I can see why people do feel bullied, and why people, especially disabled people, are bullied into taking these jobs which aren't suited for them. But they're threatened with, well, I'm sorry, you might be in a wheelchair, you might only have one hand, but with that one hand you can, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but it's probably not far from the truth, with that one hand you can lift a can of beans from a pallet and put it on that bottom shelf. Where's the dignity in that? But that's how universal credit, that's Tories for you. That's what universal credit's all about. I've lost my thread, Steve. I sometimes do that.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Okay, but the trouble is, though, right? Douglas Hogg, right? Always on the news all the time. He's going on about disabilities, about people on benefits, disabilities, and everything. You just said it. You just said the actual word I was after. Because the idea was where disabled. If he said a long time ago, people's got one hand, one leg, whatever, they can still do a job. They should be working, disabled people, right? But
Yeah.
what really gets my goat when you got the idiot who who actually
Yeah.
sleeps on the front bench,
That's why I brought it up.
right?
Yes, you've brought it back. That's why I find that so grotesque to look at. These people, like you say, they turn up and they get paid for turning up and for sitting there. And half of them, if they're not asleep, they're on the phones, and they're probably not tweeting what they're doing,
Yeah,
because some of them
yeah,
watch pornography in there, as we know, or and all the rest of it. I don't,
yeah.
and it is an absolute joke. And they're all telling us just wait, don't be worried, don't, try not to be worried about your bills, try not to be worried about the cost of living, try not to be worried about that. It's easy for them to say because they are on an absolute, it's a racket, it's a gravy train, Steve. It's a trough that a lot of them have their noses in, and they're just despicable people. And that's why I went ranting and raving then about, and these are the same people that, they're living a cushy life there, especially that Therese Coffey, the current benefits minister. She'll probably get another job tomorrow, but she's the one that's coming up with all these ideas to just get them out working. We don't want them on benefits and all the rest of it. Yeah, they're the biggest. Honestly, they're I could say some things, Steve. I've got to be mindful. I don't want to get done for. It won't be slander or libel, put it that way. But it'll be, it just annoys me. And that Jacob Rees-Mogg, him, is that him who you were showing me the picture of? Then the one who looks like he's from 1875.
Yeah.
He, as a human being,
Yeah.
is as despicable as they come. He's got no intelligence. He thinks a posh voice and in a lofty manner, talking, and that. Honestly, he is a disgrace to humanity, and I have no respect for him whatsoever. You can tell I quite like the Tories, can't you?
Okay.
Can we talk about serial killers or something,
Okay.
Steve? People who are half decent.
Sorry?
Anyway, no, it's okay. It's okay. And breathe. Calm down, Mark.
No,
it's just a chat show.
What I want to do now, is actually cover another story about.
Okay.
I want to get away from politics, all right? Because should I get winding up, I'll go on Twitter and I'll get done. All right. I want to talk about. Did you hear about the shooting that was in America, where this guy, he's 21, called Nicholas. He actually shot around 17 people.
I've not looked at the story in depth. I've just seen headlines, Steve. So I'm aware that something's happened. Have you got any more info?
Right. So
what else has happened?
So this guy, he killed 17 people back in 2018, I think it is. And what's happening is at the moment is they tried the other day. He tried to go for a mistrial to decide whether he should go for actually being electrocuted or being sent to prison for life. Now, what they're doing is they're playing on his mental health, right? So what they're doing is they're playing on his mental health. Now, when somebody shoots 17 people, you can't tell me they don't know what they're doing. What do you think?
Well, I'd have to know a little bit more about the what do we know anything about this guy's past? Has he shown homicidal tendencies? Has he ever been done for gun crime before, like robbery or something? Or has he lived a completely crime-free life and up until this moment. I do think it's possible for people to snap in life. We all don't have guns in our hands. This happens in America quite a lot, really. And it's probably a lot more common than what we realise. You always hear about these shootings in schools, for example, at garage forecourts, where you get these guys that just suddenly snap and they go out and they go on some sort of rampage, and it usually ends with them killing themselves. Is it possible for somebody to have mental health issues to the point where they actually go out and do that off the bat with no prior warning? I probably think it is quite possible. I think it is possible.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, the defense is kind of like playing that he has got mental health problems. So, and apparently in the past he was abused and stuff like that. So,
well, this is it. I mean, this is by no stretch of the imagination me trying to justify what is done or to lessen the impact of what is done, because it's absolutely terrible by the sounds of it. Now, whether or not, so this is the thing about, and we spoke about this the other week, didn't we, about capital punishment or the death penalty. And
we did,
and it's not as black and white as you think. And I know that if it had been any of my loved ones caught up in his rampage, of course I would be shouting from the hilltops, send him to the chair. Mental health or not, that would be a normal human reaction, wanting some sort of retribution. And I think it's very complex, because you've got to ask yourself, what purpose do these individuals, and it's like what I was saying the other week about the child molesters or the child killers, what possible use does life have for having people like that in it? And my gut instinct is to say, well, none whatsoever. Just remove them from remove all trace of them from the earth, basically. Just get rid. You can't do anything with people like that. They're going to be in prison for the next 30, 40, 50 years until they die. It's going to cost people. It's going to cost taxpayers, whether it's in America or here, money to keep them alive, basically. But that's a very emotional thing. And we're supposed to be a more civilized society, really.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I don't really want to ask you this.
Yeah, go on.
I'm going to. But if you went to court, if you killed somebody, say, and all of a sudden you were going for the electric chair, say.
Right. Yeah.
Right. What would your feelings be? I know you'd be bricking it and whatnot, but what would your feelings be if you got told that in the future your life's going to come to an end?
Well, and I did touch upon this last time we spoke about the death penalty. I've always been brought up with a fear of consequence, and I think that's a Catholic thing. I.e., if you are a sinful person in life, you don't make amends and you don't say you're sorry to Jesus and the people that you've hurt and all the rest of it, you will be held accountable, and I might well end up going down to hell. That's the kind of thing that's drilled into you in fire and brimstone terms in the Catholic faith.
Right. Okay.
Right. Which is something I don't really hold on to as a view anymore, but it has instilled in me a very honourable value, I think, which is I have a fear of consequence. If I go into work and I decide to leave the workstation and have a cigarette in the toilet. I don't smoke, by the way. I'm just giving you a very extreme example here. We're not that smoke at work, as you know. No one's that smoke in buildings. But I decide to go and do that. I get caught. I would expect to get sacked. I wouldn't expect that there'd be any defence for it. I would be able to throw up any mitigating circumstance. I'd know I was doing wrong, and I would expect to get sacked. If I killed somebody in America, a homicidal murder, and if I considered myself to be a quite adjusted person mentally, I would, knowing damn well there's always the possibility of the electric chair. If I was found guilty and it was a case of, and you will be sentenced to death, I would accept it. I wouldn't like it, obviously, and I'd be frightened and all the things that you said earlier. But that's me as a person. I believe that every person on this planet should have a sense of consequence and a fear of consequence. And I don't think there is that. And I think that is a massive problem. And I think because children don't have a sense or a fear of consequence now. You can't punish them because you're violating their human rights, taking the devices off them or grounding them. You can't shout at them because you are emotionally, smacking you. And I mean, I've got mixed feelings about that. I never smacked. I've got a daughter that's 31. I never raised my hand to her in my life, even when she was being a little cowbag. I had 7 shades of the brown stuff whacked out of me as a child, like most people my age did. And I never got caned at school, but I saw that. I often say to my young kids, God, if I had spoken to my mum or my dad like the way you have done, now I'd be waking up next week in a hospital bed, because that's what it was like. You didn't do it. And
I had the belt given to me.
Yeah. Now I'm not saying that that's right. But the thing is, Steve, it gave us. We knew that if we did it, there'd be serious consequences. What are the consequences now? What can you do to punish children now? You can't even threaten them with juvenile hall or Borstal or whatever the hell it's called nowadays, because you know damn well they're going to be in there with bloody Xboxes and PlayStations.
Yeah.
Where's the deterrent? Where's the consequence? That is the problem. But so just summarising now your answer to your question: if I murdered somebody and I was told I was going to be facing the electric chair, I'd say it's a fair cop. I shouldn't have done it. I had no excuses. And I won't try to find an excuse. I won't try and wriggle out of it, because I never have done. I've always, whenever I've been caught out, Melanie will tell you this, whenever I've been caught out, I hold my hands up.
Was that all the time or not? No.
All the time, Steve. All the time. I never try and fast talk my way out of anything or sweet talk my way out of anything. I never try to. I never try to divert. I never try to say, "Well, you did." No, actually, I do sometimes.
Okay. What do you think of what? This is going to be interesting now. What do you think of the word gossip means to you?
Gossip.
Yeah.
To me, it's just the old-fashioned thing. Two people chatting over a garden fence.
How do you deal with gossip?
So if somebody came to you, I'm going to be honest. I enjoy it. I love it.
So if somebody comes to you and says something about somebody, who you know, right? Do you take it as a picture show, or do you go back to the person and say, look, I heard so and so, or you just kind of like, you just leave it in your head and don't say nothing at all.
Um, first of all, I enjoy gossip. I do enjoy it because I think it's one of the few spices of life that we do have, and the more salacious, the better. And I like to hear gossip about people that I am friends with, people I'm fond of, and also I love to hear gossip about people I can't stand as well. I think it's entertaining. However, I'm aware that gossip can get out of hand, and I'm aware that it can destroy people's lives. But I'm just talking about very, very basic gossip, like, oh, have you heard about somebody?
Yeah.
He's been seen with Molly, down in pub. He's been seen over at wheelie bins with her. That kind of gossip, I like that. But I would never go to somebody, because I've had opportunity really to ponder over this over the last 6 months, where a friend of mine has been the subject of quite salacious gossip. And
Yeah.
I've actually battled with myself thinking, am I a true friend? Because I've not told this person what people are saying about them. But the thing is, Steve, when you go to somebody and say, oh, I've heard that you are, right, that person's going to want to know who you've heard it from.
Yeah.
And I am not the best person. Melanie will tell you this. I'm not the best person at withstanding that kind of pressure. My my default reaction is to blab and spill the beans and chuck everybody under a bus. So don't ever trust me with gossip. But that's why I don't go to people, because I have done that in the past, and it's usually backfired on me, because it's about I'm the one that's not a friend to that person who I've gone to say, I've heard that you are this. Well, who said that, Mark? Well, actually, I'd rather not say. Well, some mate you are.
Yeah.
And what did you say about it? And it all becomes about, well, did you stand up for me? Well, no, I didn't. I thought it was funny, actually. I don't know if I believe it or not. But that whole thing has backfired on me, where my standing as a friend has come into question. Because really, it's a shoot the messenger kind of thing. I'm the messenger. They've received wind of gossip that's been said about them, but I'm the messenger, so I'm the one that's going to cop it. So I've learned the hard way not to go to people. But as I say, I haven't done that, because there's been a few times when it has been absolutely necessary for me to do it. Maybe not with gossip as such, but where I've had to go to somebody to say, look, such and such a person has said this about you, and it really isn't right. Because, like I say, I'm aware that gossip in some instances can be quite harmful to people.
Definitely can be, yeah.
Yeah, but by and large, Steve, if it was sort of like, there's an Elvis tribute and he wears a wig, and that kind of gossip I love, and I'll have fun with it. But if it was sort of like gossip about somebody infidelity or something like that, or somebody not, if there's like a paternity thing going on, i.e., well, I've heard actually that baby might not be his. Although that kind of gossip can be entertaining in its own right sometimes, but but that's where it starts to cross the line of being like, oh, I don't want to know. Keep me out of it.
Yeah.
Do you like gossip, Steve? Do you like it?
That's a question to ask me, isn't it?
Well, of course it is. It's only fair.
Well, I get gossip all the time, don't I? I used to get it quite a lot. You know that. I've done this, done that, things like that. And
no, but I'm on about gossip about other people, not gossip about yourself. Like if I was to talk to you, like I'd heard that an Elvis tribute was walking on the beach, and a seagull came and tugged it off
on his head,
or something like that. Yeah. And do you like that kind of gossip? Fun gossip.
I like fun gossip. Yeah. But when someone comes up to me and say, did you hear about Mark Memphis or any? It could be any friends of mine. Then I will kind of like go, well, stop.
Mm.
I don't want to know at the end of the day. And that's where I stop from gossip. Yeah,
Yeah, I
don't
think
mind them.
because gossip, like I say, I think it's quite a broad word. It can be trivial or it can be quite
Yeah.
serious. I think when I say I'm entertained by gossip, can I just rephrase that and say I'm entertained by tittle tattle, that kind of
I
trivial.
love it. I think it's, yeah.
Yeah,
I love
that
it.
kind
I
of
think
that's the
it's
kind of
funny.
gossip I like.
Yeah, I think it's funny. But
Mm,
you've got to admit, when we do talk about people like that, like Elvis tribute,
yeah,
sometimes it's true, though, isn't it?
there's a grain of truth behind every story. There's even a grain of truth behind every lie, Steve.
You know what I mean? So look, at the end of the day, you can't tell me Elvis never wore any wigs.
Well, he did actually. He wore a blonde wig in Kissing Cousins.
Yeah, well,
He
there you
played two
go.
characters in Kissing Cousins, the film. Um, they were actually cousins, so there was a blonde-haired Elvis, so that was a wig, and obviously the normal dark-haired Elvis. He wore a wig in Jailhouse Rock as well, where he had his hair shaved in prison. That was a wig. The skinhead. It was a horrible
Yeah,
wig, but
yeah.
I didn't look. Some wigs are terrible, Steve. Some of them look shocking.
Where was it when he did the at the fun fair where he was on a bike and they had to go around that?
Oh, that was a film called It Happened at the World's Fair. That was
That's
based
it.
on the World's Fair in Seattle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, they gave him is it said what was it? What did they say in the paper about it? Oh yeah, apparently he cut his sideburns off when he was at the hairdressers, and they had to put
Mhm.
these fake sideburns to him because something happened. It was an accident in the hairdressers where he goes or something, or
Oh,
where the
I've not heard
hairdressers
that one,
was.
Steve.
No, it was
I
honestly,
know that I
yeah,
know there's I know the only sideburn stories, and there's two I'm aware of. One is when he got drafted into the army. Um, he shaved his own sideburns off before he went for his induction, and when he had his hair cut short. So he did that basically. It was almost like he jumped before he was pushed in that respect. But there's also another story which is a little bit sinister actually, and I know it's a rumor. I know it's a gossip. I can't say how it's true. But when he died and when he was getting prepared in the coffin, when his hairstylist came and did his hair, apparently one of his sideburns came loose. Now, how does a sideburn come loose and it had to be glued back on? That's a bit of a strange story, which I just physically can't imagine to be true.
well,
But no,
it's like these people in Las Vegas. Um, oh, what was that bloody thing program called? Where people went in with their bloody signatures and bloody frames. It was a shop. It was on telly. What was
right,
it? What
okay.
we used to watch, Joe? Where they went into that shop and they had to kick people out of that shop. Oh, what was it called? Anyway, it was like a shop in Las Vegas somewhere. And what they
Okay.
did was that this bloke came in once and he went, he dressed up as Elvis Presley. He went, like that. And he said,
Oh,
"Did you know I've got Elvis's hair, right, in this little tub?
yeah.
I cut it off. I went to his grave, saw him in his grave. And when no one was looking, I cut a piece off his sideburn,
Right, okay.
right?
That I don't think that ever happened.
And
But
things
anyway.
like that. So, but, there you go. So it's all gossip and everything, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So, but, I think they had to extend the coffin a bit or something, wasn't it? Because he was too tall or something, or
Mm,
something like that.
mm, no, I don't think I've not heard that.
No.
No. Anyway, what a cheery topic.
And yeah. Sorry, yeah. But anyway, so I want to know. Before we finish today, I just want to know. What's it like to be an entertainer, and when you go out on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night,
Mm.
and you see people dancing, you see people happy, people getting drunk and everything. What does it feel inside to think that you're doing something worthwhile? Because there are some
It's
people out there call themselves entertainers,
yeah.
but to me, they're just rubbish.
Um, I find it rewarding, and I also find it um the whole thing of being on stage, and I think I've said this to you before, is it's not, although it doesn't feel unnatural to me to be on a stage singing, and I'm quite matter of fact about it, really. When I'm up singing and there's people up dancing, yeah, that's it. It's rewarding and it's nice to see. But I certainly don't go off. I don't go off on some big ego trip. Um, and I can be quite self-depreciating about it, and I can
Yeah,
get, and sometimes I actually can get a little bit awkward about it. I mean, I did a gig on Saturday night, and there was a woman dancing in front of me. She was she was a smallish woman, and she was quite ample chest-wise, and she's
right.
shaking them at me and turning round and wiggling her bottom, and I just looked at Melanie and a friend of mine sat next to her, and I'm just like looking at them as we're
Were they
kind of,
happy?
well, yeah, and and I felt a little bit kind of, this is a bit kind of not too much, but this is sort of, I felt a little bit out of my comfort zone, and I'll have fun with them, but it's not what I'm about. It's not the reason I do it. But I know there are some singers out there that would be convinced that they're Elvis Presley or the Tom Jones, and they'd be going up to them and they'd be like, "Hey, honey," and passing them a tissue from to wipe the foreheads and stuff like that. So there's no ego when I see people enjoying themselves or acting demonstratively or whatever. Yeah, I find it flattering and saying that, and it's quite rewarding because, of course, I want people to enjoy it and to have a good time. But by
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
token, Steve, when I'm singing on stage and there's hardly anyone dancing or what have you, I get some nights, Steve, where people might, if I'm lucky, people get up for the final half of the last of the 3 slots and dance. By the same token, that doesn't crush me. I don't think I've
But
done anything wrong. No, it doesn't bother me. No, if people, even if nobody claps, it doesn't. I don't feel defeated, and that's why I think singing in clubs, especially, it's not a job for the faint-hearted, because I can see how, if you're insecure or if you have a massive ego and you're not getting the reaction that you think you deserve, or the reaction that would make you think you're doing okay, I can see how that can destroy people, and a soul destroying night. But whereas me, I'm paid to sing, and I'm paid to hopefully entertain, but people can enjoy what I'm doing sat down and listening. If the whole room's talking, I don't feel like I'm being ignored, whereas there's some singers will think, well, that's it, I'm not going back on again,
yeah.
they're rude.
Do you
So there's absolutely
now?
no ego.
Before I
You on?
finish, I want to
Hmm.
know this. As an entertainer, do you get your drinks paid for free?
Not all of them. Sometimes there's been a few gigs where, and it's usually at pubs rather than clubs, where where I've tried to pay for a drink and they'll say, no, there you go, and Melanie gets her drinks for free. But also, if there's a gig and where they'll say, "How much do you charge?" And I say, "Well, I charge for a Friday night." "Oh, we can't quite manage that. Would you be prepared to accept?" And they'll give me a lower amount. I'll say, "I'll tell you what, I'll take that and chuck us a few drinks in for free, and you've got a deal." And they'll say, "Yeah, fine, that's fine." So, but by and large, the majority of the time, no, I have to buy my own drinks. Sadly.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I don't
Mark,
have that many. I don't have that many anyway.
Don't you?
You what, mate? Sorry.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you.
Anytime. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
And I'll be seeing you. Steve, what have you been doing off screen for the past 10 minutes while I've been talking about facing the electric chair and seagulls and things? What are you eating? Chinese or something?
No, I'm not eating no Chinese. No, not at all.
Are you naked? Because you sound naked.
I am not naked. No, look, this is me. Look.
Let's see him. He's naked, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not. I'm here. Look. I ain't been anywhere. I ain't been anywhere. I've been off.
You've been doing something. You've had a pot noodle then. You've had a pot noodle.
No. I haven't had a pot noodle. No.
Okay.
No. I haven't had no chicken. I'm destitute.
It's the oldest profession. It's the oldest profession, Steve, isn't it?
I'm really destitute. I'm hoping that my bargain bucket will come my way in a minute when Mr. Memphis
finally says goodnight. I would never buy you a bargain bucket, Steve. I would. There'd be no bargain there. It'd be the finest bucket I could get you. There'd be no bargain about it.
Yeah, probably be a mop with it, wouldn't it?
No, there'd be no mopping there. It'd be pheasant and other exotic birds that you might want to eat.
Yes, no, I'm okay, thank you. I'm. So anyway, guys, if you want to bargain bucket, all you got to do is ask Mark, and I'm sure Mark will send you out a bargain bucket for free, guys. I'm still waiting for mine.
Just drop me a line.
Yeah, just drop him a line. It's Mark Memphis at markmemphismusic.co.uk.
In Bradford. And, don't forget Bradford.
Oh, yeah, Bradford. Yes, and it's BR13560E2. Yeah,
that's the one. That is the exact postcode, yeah.
Yeah, that's the exact postcode. You will find them by the brothel next door.
Yeah. Oh, Steve, before I go, no sirens tonight. What? No sirens.
What's happening?
I don't know. I think they're diverting their inquiries elsewhere. I think I've got away with it.
Thank God for that. You're not on the run no more, then.
Not on the run, no.
You haven't been having your curries lately.
I went for a curry yesterday. We went to a curry buffet.
Oh,
eat all you want. Eat all you want for £19. It was very nice. Very nice.
That's good, isn't it? When you go for it, or eat what you want. Get fed up. Just pack your bag and put it all in a bag and take it all over you. I can take for the rest of the week.
Yeah. Sadly, I didn't think of doing that. Yeah, go, just go. All right, Steve, I'll see you next week, mate.
Right. Bye-bye, Marcos.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.